All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, and you know what that means. Time to do the Tao now. Reading from Dr. Wayne Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. Wow, it's so backwards. It's interesting. Maybe. We'll just leave it. We'll play. We'll play. There's one way to learn, ladies and gentlemen. That's by trying. And there's one way to get good, and that's by continuously trying. Some people call that practice. And so today, like I said, we're of the Tao, and we're looking at verse 19, or the 19th verse of the Tao Te Ching, and Wayne Dyer titles this chapter, Living Without Attachment. And so I was super excited to get into this one because that to me sounds like a very, very spiritual, metaphysical topic, to where last time it was about leadership, I believe, or action, living without rules. It was a fascinating one itself. Now, let's just dive right into this before I ramble on anymore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the 19th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Give up sainthood, renounce wisdom, and it will be 100 times better for everyone. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there will be no thieves. All of these are outward forms alone. They are not sufficient in themselves. It is more important to see the simplicity, to realize one's true nature, and to cast off selfishness and temper desire. Wow, that's a powerful verse. I wasn't sure there for a second when it said throw away morality and justice, but then right after it says throw away industry and profit, and there will be no thieves. It's kind of this the idea of the paradox, to where, like, the last one was talking about the rules. Like, if we are in harmony with the great way and with life and everybody in our lives, then rules are kind of secondary. It's for those of us who are not in harmony. And so that reminds me of what it's saying here. When you this industry and profit stuff, it creates thieves and lack and all of this stuff. And so let's get into what Wayne Dyer has to say here. Living without attachment. Upon first reading this 19th verse of the Tao Te Ching, it appears that Lao-tzu is encouraging us to abandon the highest principles of the Tao. And see, that was where I kind of got confused at first with the throw away morality and justice. I was like, what? But it's renounce sainthood. So I'll go back to what Wayne Dyer is saying here. Renounce sainthood, wisdom, morality, justice, industry, and profit, says the great sage, and all will be well. Lao-tzu tells us that all of these are outward forms alone and are insufficient for living according to the highest way. The first of these categories represents education and the way you look at your sources of learning. And a great thing I've heard recently is, nowadays, with the way that curriculums are and our educational system is structured, at least here in the West, it's all that I can speak for, is it's almost better to just homeschool and do it yourself. Now, this verse, Wayne Dyer continues, advises you to alter your concept of being saintly just because you follow the teachings of an organized religion, and to change your view of self-importance because of degrees you've received from an educational institution. Lao Tzu gently informs you that it's far more valuable to cultivate your true nature. As with virtually all of the teachings of the Tao, the greatest trust is placed in your accessing the sacred Tao center of yourself. Within you lies a piece of God that instinctively knows what to do and how to be. Trust yourself. Powerful words. So great words. It makes me think of one of the most important. And then to expand on that, that makes me think once you know yourself, you can begin to get into contact with that spiritual part of yourself, that non physical, that part of yourself that is a part of everything else as well. Mm. Trust yourself and reevaluate the ultimate importance of educational and religious institutions. I'm loving that he's saying this because the religious institutions keep us trapped in the idea that they're the only ones that have the answer, and the answer is not within us, even though the greatest spiritual teachings that are diamonds amidst the dung heaps. And then also the same thing with educational. It's like we must become critical thinkers. We must ask questions and question our own answers and the answers that other people give us, and continue to learn and grow both educationally and spiritually in life. And I think that's a super important key for all of us going forward in this world. Now, when you modify how you see them, these educational and religious institutions, you'll notice that the true essence, Wayne Dyer continues, the true essence of you is 100 times better for everyone. Lao-tzu might say that a truth is a truth until you organize it, and then it becomes a lie. Fascinating. Why? The question is. Because the purposes of the organization begin to take precedence over that which it first attempted to keep in order. So true wisdom, true spiritual knowledge. And then all of a sudden, I'm, kind of pontificating my own ideas of what's being said here. Then all of a sudden, the true essence of these spiritual and educational pursuits gets trapped behind the organization of it all, the compartmentalization. I had no idea it was going to go this direction. This is fascinating. So I'll read that line again. It was so good. The question is why? Would it be better for everyone to take a different view and learn the truth about religious and educational institutions? And that is because the purposes of the organization begin to take precedence over that which it first attempted to keep in order. It's a powerful one. And then the weird line in the verse, that's a confusing one, is throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. It's like most people would think, yeah, right, you throw away morality and justice and it all falls into chaos, right? But let's see what Wayne Dyer here thinks about what was written in this 19th verse of the Tao Te Ching. He says, here in the second of the outward forms, Lao-tzu reveals a legal system that takes precedence over your natural internal integrity. When you know that you emerged from an impeccable source of honor and equality, and you don't have to rely on a system of justice, and I'll jump in there, when you are aligned with the way and with life and with nature and with the rest of life, so I'm thinking like other people and animals and everything, when you are aligned, you automatically are, it's like rules are secondary. I guess that's the best way that I can put it. And when we begin to know and become new versions of ourselves, when we do know that we are connected and that we have come from an impeccable source of honor and equality. Wayne Dyer continues here. Lao Tzu reminds us that it is very important not to view ourselves as regulated to an inferior position because laws of morality tell you who you really are. It's like we need to stop letting anybody tell us who we are, and we need to start figuring out who we are individually And every day we need to be asking ourselves the question, who am I? And what do I want? And, those questions will begin to get ourselves aligned with what some people will describe as our great basic purpose, or our destiny, or whatever it is, why we're here and what we're here to do, the meaning of life, which is the $10 million question. When we begin to align and know these great truths and seek within ourselves and ask these questions, we will begin to align and go in the direction of our own endeavors and our own dreams, and we will begin to live the life that we have imagined and desired. And we'll begin to create it, and we'll do that every day. But it's not easy, and it definitely probably can't be done without first asking the question, who am I? And beginning to know thyself. Now, sorry, I rambled there a bit. See yourself centered with the perfection of the Tao, Wayne Dyer continues, which is your nature. Rather than needing to consult a law book or courtroom or judge to determine your ethical standing, these labyrinthian systems designed to determine all issues of right and wrong are evidence of our drift away from the simplicity of our inborn nature, this harmony, the Tao, or whatever you want to call it. This is just a description from a certain individual that had his own views on these fantastical truths. The last of the outward forms is the whole world of business. The line in the 19th verse here says, renounce profit seeking and give up ingenuity and discard what? Let me go back, double check. I don't. Throw away morality, just people do that. Throw away industry and profit, and there will be no thieves. So Wayne Dyer kind of elaborated there on the verse. But renounce profit, give up ingenuity, and discard record keeping, and thieves will disappear altogether. Could be one interpretation, he says. Lao-tzu advises us to stay centered within the all-encompassing integrity of the Tao, the force, the way, and to release our view of profits and monetary gain as indicators of our level of success in life. That's key. Another key learning, and that's a key to manifesting. In every one of these videos, there's always one of these keys to manifesting, ladies and gentlemen. When you see your life through the perspective of the Tao teaching, you'll have no need to hoard large sums of money. Instead, you'll discover the pleasure of serving others in a spirit of endless generosity. Important key to manifesting there too. Or, as this translation, Wayne Dyer continues, of the Tao Te Ching puts it, you'll cast off selfishness and tempered desire. These, then, are the three outward forms: education, justice, and business. You're being encouraged to update how you see the reasons for, the methods used by, and the way well-meaning people have taught to value those arenas of life. When you change, you'll note the simplicity and sacredness of a higher principle, which will enrich those institutions with the free-flowing Tao. You'll realize your own true nature. You'll cast off selfishness, and we will temper our desire. Be in the world of education, justice, and business, but not of it. Damn, that's a powerful one. And you'll see the inner world where you're centered in the Tao, the force, the great way, the flowing. This is what Lao-tzu is saying to us through Dr. Wayne Dyer from his 2,500-year-old perch. Imagine Lao-tzu sitting up there, 2,500-year-old perch, looking down on all the students of wisdom and greater teachings, spirituality, mysticism. Shoot, and even, what were the three outward forms? Education, justice, and business. Now, he gives us a couple suggestions here before the do the Tao now suggestion. He says, observe your relationship to systems of education, justice, and business. Notice attempts to compartmentalize you. This is extremely important. I, I had no idea it was going to go this direction in this one. I thought it was going to be really like spiritual and metaphysical. It is kind of, but this is almost conspiratorial. Wayne Dyer getting conspiratorial here. Now, notice attempts when you observe your own relationship to systems of education, justice, and business. And notice the attempts to compartmentalize you. You are dependent on a system of reward and punishment for approval, right? Do the rules and codes of conduct you follow come from a heart-centered space, or are they designed to create a label of specialness? Don't fight these institutional pressures or even the fact that they exist. Simply let go of all attachments to them. You are not saintly, quote unquote, a good person, because an organization says so, but rather because you stay connected to the divinity of your own origination. Once again, that goes back to knowing who you are and where. I'll continue. Wayne Dyer continues, you are not intelligent because of a transcript, you are intelligence itself, which needs no external confirmation. You are not moral because you obey the laws, you are morality itself, because you are the same as what you came from. Choose to see the outward forms as poor substitutions for your true nature, and you'll begin to live without attachment to those forms. You'll see your own inner laws, which never require codifying. You'll live with freedom and simplicity. Trust first and foremost in yourself. This is a great one. And then the second suggestion here is live without attachment by being generous. Because I was already thinking in my head, so okay, how can we, it's an easy way that we can begin to, detach and live without attachment and flow with this force or the Tao or the great way. Live without attachment by being generous. Wayne Dyer says here, let go of evaluating yourself on the basis of how much you've accumulated and what is in your financial portfolio. Stop putting a dollar value on all that you have and do. Let go of your need to get a good deal and choose instead to be a being of sharing. And I'll add there, when we begin to do that, everything we're chasing after will begin coming into our lives in more amounts than when we were chasing after it always. That's kind of one of the paradoxes of the universe. And another secret to manifesting is it's like when we can let go of our want. I mean, that's not saying you get rid of all desires and just sit on a couch and things will show up for you. No, you have to have a definite purpose backed by a burning desire. But that means that we're not ruled by it. We're not overtaken by it. The less you focus on making a profit, Wayne Dyer continues, which will probably make the point that I was having trouble just saying, the less you focus, instead shifting your energy to living your purpose in harmony with everyone else, the more money will flow to you and the more opportunities for generosity will be available to you. The world of institutional pressures is built on an endless list of human-made do's and don'ts. Lao-tzu advocates that we discover our heart's true desire, ladies and gentlemen, all the while remembering that no one else can tell you what it is. And that's something that I've struggled, you kind of wonder when you're not sure what your purpose is or what you're supposed to do in life. You seek out, I always laughed about this, you seek out asking other people, what do I need to do? What am I supposed to do? And then they try to tell us and we go, no, that's not right. It's like we're asking for help, but we know that the answer can only come from within us. Now, finally, Wayne Dyer finishes each chapter in this book, and I'll have this book linked in the description below. Get yourself a copy. It's wonderful reference material to have physical version of. Physical version, ladies and gentlemen. This copy's starting to get some wear. So he says, like I said, at the end of each chapter, he recommends do the Tao now, based on what was talked about in the verse. And this one here today, Tuesday Tao, says, post the following affirmation for your constant attention. And a genius extraordinaire, regardless of what any institutional transcript or bank statement says. We'll repeat that again, because that's what he says. He says, repeat this mantra until it becomes your way of being. You will feel a sense of inner peace as you release the hold that outer forms have on you. Powerful. And that's another secret to manifesting there is you have to be grateful. If you're not grateful, then things will expand in a way of lack, in a way of scarcity. I couldn't remember the word scarcity yesterday. I was talking about what's the other word? And scarcity. Scarcity mindset, ladies and gentlemen. Begin to think to ourselves every day, I am moral and profitable and a genius extraordinaire, regardless of what any institutional transcript or bank statement says. That doesn't say we are delusional. It's important. Some people will hear that kind of stuff and be like, yeah, you're just delusional, thinking you're great, thinking you're smart, all this kind of stuff. But it's like when what we think about expands. That's like one of the biggest teachings Wayne Dyer was all about. And to me, what that means is if you think about scarcity or the things that you don't like or what you don't have, the universe is impartial. It's just going to be like, oh, you don't like, you don't have, here you go. It's going to give to you whatever it is you're using the Akasha principle, the mind, to create, and then that will expand into your life. So if you want good things to expand in your life, you got to be like, I feel good. Even though, you might not feel great, you kind of have to work yourself into it. It takes practice. And, I'm thankful for every dollar that I do have, or whether it's a pound or whatever it is for you. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for, even if you have one piece of bread to eat, like I'm thankful for this piece of bread. And when you're thankful for it, you might find yourself coming across more pieces of bread. That's just my thought. I've practiced it in my life, and I know that it's worked for me. And so I am moral. I am profitable. I am a genius extraordinaire, regardless of what any institutional transcript or bank statement says. And I am so happy and thankful for all that I am and all that I have and all that continues to flow into my life. I mean, if that ain't beautiful words of wisdom, I don't know what is, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. That is Dr. Wayne Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. That was verse 19 of the Tao Te Ching, which was a fantastic one. They're starting to get more practical. It started out real like, spiritual, mystical, outer spacey kind of. Outer spacey isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. Up in the clouds. Up in the clouds. Wow. The 20th verse, which we'll be doing next Tuesday Tao, Wayne Dyer titles Living Without Striving. And this 20th verse covers up the whole page. So it's definitely by far easily the longest verse. So that should be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. If you got value, consider subscribing, smash the like button. And, if you want to share your thoughts, I totally appreciate it. Leave a comment below. This is my first time doing one of these live, so we'll see how this ends up in the catalog or, the list of videos on the channel. I notice sometimes when you do them live, it shows up in a different place rather than uploads. It's like under the live category, but hopefully this will be in the Wisdom of the Tao playlist. And once again, I appreciate everybody who watches, appreciate who takes time out of their day to spend time with me and Lao-tzu and Wayne Dyer and whatever it is we're talking about, because we are seeking the wisdom of the ages, and we're seeking a way that we can live life more fully, with a higher quality of life, more peace, more happiness, and begin to make happiness the way rather than a goal or destination. Because that's what I found in seeking to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. I found that sometimes when you're striving to get happiness as a goal, you forget to bring it to every moment along the way. And once you get that great teaching that happiness is the way, not the destination, then the destination kind of stops mattering and you just begin to go. There's a great story, I think I'll finish with it because it's my favorite one ever. And there's a little kitten in the alley and he's chasing his tail. And there's an old alley cat and he comes up to the kitten and says, what are you doing? And the little kitten says, well, I just got back from cat philosophy school. That part always makes me laugh. And the little kitten says, and I learned the two most important things for a cat. And the number one most important thing for a cat is happiness. And the second thing is that happiness is located in my tail. And so he says, I'm chasing and chasing and chasing, and I'm striving to get it. And once I get a lock on my tail, I'll hold on forever and I'll have an eternal lock on happiness. And the old alley cat goes, well, I never really had the luxuries that you've had to go to cat philosophy school and whatnot. I've kind of just scrap around in the alleys all my life for what I've had. But he says, it is interesting. I've learned those same exact two things, that indeed happiness is the most important thing for a cat, and indeed is also located in my tail, or in your tail. And so he goes, but the difference between me and you is that I go about my business and I do what it is I know that I need to do, and it follows after me wherever I go. That's not a boom, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what is. We'll be back tomorrow with Wisdom of the Ages, Wednesday Wisdom. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.